Well, hello, hello, and welcome to the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Kat Knecht, and I bring you every episode stories and insights and tips and techniques, soul driven success for your coaching business. And I bring this to you from the coaching business community that I'm a part of, which is the soul driven success community, as well as some other coaching communities. If you're listening to this, you know that as coaches, being connected to other people as we help people is really, really essential. So that is a part of the mission that I have in bringing you this show. And today's show, we're going to continue our spring series, Cleaning Out the Closet of Your Business. So I've been doing this with our community. And today on our mastermind call, well, first of all, I'll dial it back. We started with cleaning out all the aspects of your business, right? We looked at all the areas. We did that on our last show. And there are a couple of things that I've done with the people in our community, and I'm going to bring them to you today. And the title of this show I'm calling is The Yin and Yang of Time Management. I actually have a whole lesson on this in the Evolve Your Coaching Business course, The Yin and Yang of Time Management. I'm going to bring you a couple of pieces from that. So first of all, I want you to imagine the yin yang. The yin yang sign, you might be familiar with the yin yang sign or the concept, which is from ancient Chinese philosophy, that there is a masculine and a feminine energy. Their concept is the feminine is softer, it's more about intuition, it's about following guidance, whereas the masculine is more about, I got to get something done, and there's a task, and I'm aiming, and there's a goal. And it's like hard, a lot more in the hard energy. So there's a soft and a hard energy. And the purpose of the yin yang sign is that there is this interplay between the two. So it's not about either or. It's about, okay, let's bring all the energies together and have them be as balanced as possible. And there's a way that we bring balance by focusing on the whole. So when you're thinking about time management when it comes to your business, I'm going to give you some ideas about how to clean out the closet of how you schedule your time, how you use your time. Okay, so I'm going to dial back to a training I did for the Soul Driven Success community during our 21-day challenge. So 4 times a year, we have a workshop and a 21-day challenge where people take the guidance from the workshop, and for 21 days, they focus on one goal and see what happens. So the goal of this last 21-day challenge was marketing, to get the marketing activated. And our last training in that challenge was on how to schedule, how to actually create your schedule so that you got the things done that were most important to you. And there's so many tools out there for this. But with that training, what was really important and what we had a big conversation about was how to make sure that you put in your schedule the things that were less, maybe less task oriented. So tasks are really important to have in your schedule. You might want to have, of course, you'll want to have the clients that you work with, if you're teaching something or appointment somewhere. Those are aspects that you want to make sure you have in your calendar, in your schedule. When we were talking about marketing, and this is more on the yang side, I'm just going to say a little more on the yang side, but I feel like both of the pieces I'm going to bring to you have the yin and the yang, and we'll see how I get that mixed up here, or how I can bring those two pieces together. So looking at what you want to have in your schedule when it comes to running a successful coaching business. The number one element in marketing, when you're looking at marketing, is consistency. So you want to have in your schedule over and over and over again the same activities so that you continually, because marketing is not a one-shot deal. There's no one-shot wonder. I'm going to go out, I'm going to market my coaching business, and I'm going to succeed. Marketing is an ongoing process. And so is the marketplace. So your marketing needs to be over and over and over again so that the people that you want to reach and who most need your help you will get their attention because it's repetitive and you're bringing the same message to them over and over again. You're showing up in the same places over and over again. So the marketing aspects, whether it's social media or networking or speaking or socializing or putting out a blog or doing a podcast, the ways that you market your business most effectively will be done. And here's the piece that's really important. You want to put in your schedule the actual activity. I'm going to write the blog. I'm going to broadcast or record the podcast. I'm going to show up at this networking meeting. But you also want to put in your schedule time to prepare for those things. Maybe you need to practice. Maybe you need to write something. Maybe you need to do some research. You need to find out more about what are people really wanting in the area that is your niche. That's where I do think of this as the yang, kind of the yang piece is, okay, if you're really targeting, if you've got a targeted goal when it comes to putting things in your schedule time-wise, you want to make sure that it is whole. It isn't just the end goal. You're not just going, okay, now I'm preparing, get ready for this thing. You're actually regularly in your schedule. It's time to think about what's going to be the best approach for this talk I'm going to give. What do people most want to hear about, or what do they care about that aligns with the business services that I have? Who do I know who could help me get a speaking gig that's really going to be in front of my ideal clients? What do I need to do so that my blog gets read by more of the people who need the advice or help that I'm bringing them on my blog? So this is a yin and yang. Do you see what I'm talking about? You want to put this in your schedule. This is a part of time management. Time management means you look at what needs to get done and you manage the pieces at that time, and you really do it in a holistic way. Okay. So there's a little bit of, if you have a targeted goal, you want to think back. Now, I'm going to give you a little assignment here before I move on to the next piece, because I just might forget it by the time I get to the end of the podcast. So what I want you to do, or here's what you can do. Okay, let's be a little more coach-like, Kat. Not what I want you to do. What you can do, here's an offering. Here's a brainstorming option. You could take a look at where you've been successful with a marketing activity or whatever area of your business you're cleaning out and that needs a little bit of extra oomph. So I want you to take a look at that and then track back like all the steps that it took to get there. Like, this is something I've done that's been so useful. When I've had a success, I've tracked it. What is it that I did? Sometimes the things were unintentional or unconscious, but they really worked. So it's good to be making them conscious and intentional, because it's actually the combination of all those steps that you took that got you the success. Once you've unpacked that and you've got some clarity around it, put that in your schedule, those chunks of time. Maybe you found out that you took you went on a retreat right before that great success. Sometimes it's the soft things that really, really, the yin that really bring that yang to life, right? Maybe you had something you were doing that was very creative, or maybe it's like there was a teaching that you did, or you went to a conference, or maybe you found that doing the research, even though you hadn't thought of it as research, where you were really getting information about what people cared about, was one of the key pieces. So track the yin and the yang of what makes something successful for you. That's part one. And then part two is actually making it time management, which is putting it in your calendar, blocking out other things. So that's not time for clients. That's not time for admin. I want to be really clear. That's not time to get on your emails or on social media and get out there, unless that's part of the task. Unless actually part of what you need to put in your schedule are some of those things, like getting out on social media in a way that's intentional. But there are so many time sinks. I should call this the yin and yang and time sinks, because so many things that we can catch our attention because they are not vulnerable, because they're really easy and they seem like we're working, I know that's how it feels. I have a lot of like right now, I have, emails to people that have asked me questions or something that isn't it's important, but does it have to be done right now? That's, we think about those quadrants. You remember the quadrants, the four quadrants that this is where I learned them anyway. Stephen Covey brought forward in the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Let's see if I can remember them off the cuff. So one quadrant is unimportant and non-urgent. One quadrant is important and urgent. And one quadrant is not important and urgent. And one quadrant is not urgent and important. I think I got them all. You got what I'm saying anyway. You're smart. We are in that construct, you want to be in the not urgent, important quadrant most of the time. And you can do that by planning. But that actually is a key to time management, is ahead of time. You have blocked that time out for something specific. And again, we're looking at yin and yang here. So it could be something soft, intuitive guidance. Maybe this is going to be your spiritual practice. I actually have a guidance journal that I use every single day. I open it up and I ask for guidance on something that's important to me. And I listen for the guidance. Whatever your belief is about where guidance comes from, I'm going to tell you there is guidance that comes through that will be helpful for you. There we are in the yin. Put time aside for that, as well as some of the more vulnerable out in the world tasks or activities, recording a video and putting it out there, going to a networking meeting, all the things that, okay, I'm going to contact a person and email them. I'm going to go in person and see somebody to see about, making a connection, set up a coffee date. Really does require time management, because so easily we could say, I just don't have time. I don't have time for that. Oh my gosh, where did the time go? It just all got away from me. I don't know. What am I going to do? Oh, dear me. I get that way about time a lot. I think there's some comparisons we can make with time and money, how we can get such a lack thinking that we don't have enough, or it's, somehow, and it doesn't matter to me. I've been in so many different phases in my life. I've been working 3 jobs and having 2 little kids. I mean, I've had full-time job and starting my coaching business. I've had health issues and family who had health issues that I had to care for them. I've had many different circumstances at the time, and it doesn't really matter as long as I am being aware of how I'm using my time and doing it intentionally. I can feel good about it. And the better I feel about how I'm using my time, this is where we're going to go with the next story. Actually, the more I'm in the flow, the more there's spaciousness, the more I feel like the universe just brings me what I need. People cancel at the last minute, or somebody shows up to help me, or some opening happens. The more intentional that I am, the better my time flows. So I'm going to offer that could be true for you. Part two of this story goes way, way back. It does go to this morning, to the mastermind call. But before that, I went way, way back. I was doing my very first, what was the second one, but first official workshop as a coach. I was inviting, I don't know, I think I had 20 people. It was pretty big. It was free. It was a free workshop. I was doing it as a part of my leadership project for the Coactive Leadership Program. And so it was being recorded. The whole thing was recorded, and it was going to be reviewed by one of my leadership leaders. And the name of this workshop was, oh my gosh, the name of it just flew out of my head. It was about time. So the workshop was all about time. Time is on your side. Time is on your side. Yes, it is. I just love to do things that I think are kind of fun and catchy like that. The whole workshop was about how you can think about time and organize time in your mind in a way that brings you spaciousness, relaxation, in the flow. Things happen easily. I was told by my leadership leader that it was a little over most of the people in the workshop's heads. He actually said it was mostly over his head. It's admit it. He's like, oh, wow, that is a really big concept. So it's important, Kat, that you bring it down for people. Have the concept high up there and stick to it, but you need to bring it down and make it accessible for people. So I wrote the blog, The Yin and Yang of Time Management, this morning, and I brought it onto the mastermind call, and we were talking about this. And it was what really struck a chord with people was how important it is to keep our vision and the big picture in mind. That's what we came to in the mastermind call. And that's what we looked at. How do we organize our time when we have a vision that we're following? So I do a lot of work around vision. I have a soul strategy vision course that's a part of my curriculum at the Soul Driven Success Business Academy for a reason. I believe that having a vision, following a vision, and staying tuned into a vision is essential if you're actually going to have soul-driven success, the kind of success that brings your heart into it. So what we explored on this call was what is the inspiration that vision brings you, and how do you organize? Now, knowing that here's what I'm inspired by with my vision, here's what my vision is guiding me towards. Well, then we always get down to brass tacks in my groups and in my work. Here's the inspiration. Now, how do you bring that into reality? What are the actual activities that seem right coming from that? And it was a very eye-opening conversation, yummy and juicy, as always. But what I was reminded of is the lesson I'm going to talk about now, because vision and values are very closely connected. A vision that is truly inspiring and one that you will stick to and make sure that you create has embedded in it your highest values, or the values that are up for you right now, right? We all have so many values, and we think of there are top values, but most of the time there's a value or two or three those are the ones that you want to honor the most right now. So this idea came to me. Again, from Stephen Covey. I think this is where this came from. And this is a part of my training. Both the exercises that I'm talking about today are in my training. And if you'd like a PDF of these exercises, just let me know. I have these all in PDF form. Be happy to send it to you. You might want to use it for yourself or use it with clients. This is an activity that I highly recommend. It's in my book as well as a PDF, which is an exercise where you take a cup. Okay, I'm gonna walk you through the exercise, and then I'm gonna bring on, there's a piece that came new to me today that I have never done before. You take a cup or some kind of vessel, and you fill, and you have another cup filled with sand, and then you have some rocks. Okay, so this exercise requires sand, rocks, and cups. Or salt. You can use salt if you don't happen to have sand nearby, or you can use marbles if you don't have rocks. The idea of it, that the metaphor is when we put the rocks into our schedule, and the rocks represent what is most important to you, and the sand then is all the activities and all the tasks and all the emails and everything else. You pour the sand in and everything fits. And I highly encourage you to actually do this, because it's really cool when you have a physical experience of something. So the way that this exercise goes is, first you take the cup of sand or salt, and you take the rocks or marbles or whatever those rocks are represented for you, and you try to put them into the sand. And it's really, really, really hard. It's doable. You can do it. You maybe dig down with your fingers and push it in. But then you do the exercise where you take the rocks and put those into an empty cup, and you pour the sand over it, and you see how easy that is. And the metaphor holds true, at least for me. When I have those rocks in my schedule, what is most important? I find I get into the flow. This whole yin thing happens. It just, people show up, time stretches, it's spacious. I don't want it to sound too magical, because it's still life. there's still challenges and things that irritate me. And it's not like life is suddenly full of whatever rainbows and lollipops, but it really, really helps. So I've been doing this for years and I forget sometimes. And whenever things get bunchy in my schedule, what I tend to do is when I get urgent and get it fixed and get my VA on it, I back down. I take a look and say, well, what's most important here? Because obviously, that's not what I'm putting my time. Where you put your time and attention, that shows what you care about. And that's what gets rewarded by, I think, by the universe, by spirit, by just physics, let's say, because it just makes sense. What we focus on grows. So what came to me, I'm in a real particular crunchy time right now. I have a health issue. I have an injury in my leg, and it's just bugging me and taking up time going to the doctors and acupuncture and massage, and it's taking up a great big amount of time and energy. I have a big, yummy project I'm working on with my business where I'm really bringing on kind of the whole academy, making it very comprehensive for my clients and the people who want to grow a business to work in the academy over time, like you would a university, a year or two or even longer to really get a business growing, all that's needed for that. And also I'm working on connecting with coaching schools and coach training in order to bring my business development program to their students. So it's a pretty big project I'm working on. And I have my work as a coactive trainer leader, as a certification leader. I have my wonderful clients. I have my community where I work with people very hands-on. We have mastermind calls, group coaching calls, and coaching calls, private ones, of course, all that fitting into my schedule. Then there's the things that have been happening, like my daughter and son-in-law and little granddaughter, Margot, 1.5 years, came to visit this past weekend. The weekend before that, my other daughter came up to spend Mother's Day. The week before that, my son came up to spend the weekend because we have this new house that has a guest quarters in it. So family is coming to visit, and it's really joyous. I have friends. I have this dear friend of mine who's planning my birthday party in a few weeks and a birthday occasion. And it's just I'm so gratified by these things. So I was thinking about this yesterday, and I'm going to a music festival literally tomorrow, even though I'm going to be driving around in a little scooter, a little motorized scooter, because I can't walk very well. There are things that are really, really important to me. And I get into trouble when I do the zero-sum game thinking. That's where I think, oh, I can only have this and not that. I can only have the family come, but I can't have a successful business, or I can only take care of my health, but I can't walk around with little Margot at the playground. So here's the next piece of this rock sand exercise is to think about your highest values. The ones that are up right now, and maybe really taking your values to that vision place, like the ones that if you look at your vision, what's most prominent? What are the values that you say, oh, this is what's important to me right now, the values to honor? So the ones that came to me, one is around family experience, like really fun family experiences, I'm going to say. So we can just have a family value, but you want to really think about what does that value mean to you now? For me, it's fun, connection, experiences, joy, but really it's about those family experiences. So that's one of my rocks now. Over in my business, as I just described, I'm creating, what do they call it? Really a scalable business, and one that's B2B as well as B2C. And it's got a legacy element in it because it's a business that can go on without me. That's the whole point of it. And I hope that's not for a very long time, but it could once I get this piece done. So I think of that as business legacy. Then I thought about even my health issue. I thought about my friends, thought about this music festival, and the word that came to me was joy. Pure frickin' joy. And I thought that's a value, a really high value for me right now is to have that joy in my life and to make sure that I continually have activities that bring me joy. So those are the 3 values I'm operating with right now, and I'm experimenting with this. So I had this thought. I thought of this exercise with the rocks. So I have 3 rocks. And now I'm going to go and put those in my schedule. Where's the joy? Where are the pieces of joy? The music festival and friends and resting and walking in nature when I can walk again and taking care of myself and self-care. Where's the business legacy where I'm working on the bigger project, not just the day to day, but where I'm really creating this academy experience that I want to create? And then over here, where is the family? Where do I want to make sure I have time when the kids come up to visit or when I going to North Carolina in a few weeks, my sister's 70th birthday. We're going to go celebrate. It's a family reunion. We haven't been together in 10 years. Really important. But as I'm at the family reunion, at the music festival, my business legacy is important, right? And then there's the family. All of these in some way have a family experience in them and joy. So I'm going to experiment with this. I'd love to have you join me in the experimenting with choosing 3 of your highest values that you want to honor right now, taking some time to think about what they are, giving them some words, a name, and then putting them literally into your schedule. As you're scheduling your time, think about the yin and the yang and see how you can integrate those two using your values to create the business and the life that you most want. And please let me know how it goes. If you're in my community, you can private chat me. That's the private community or the public community. We have a private chat feature. I get a little buzz on my wrist, on my phone. I love chatting with people. Let me know how it's going or if you have questions. And if you're in the community and on the calls and on the platform, I'd love to know if you do this, and if you do, how it goes for you. Okay, yin and yang, time management. Have fun. Have fun and get it done. Make that business thrive because people need your services. The world needs you more than ever.